Medicare is pretty tough, and part of the reason is that there's new language to learn. One specific term is your status when you go into a hospital. You get some set of services, they all look and feel the same. The issue is that the billing under Medicare can be different. There's inpatient, there's observation status. And the source of controversy in the past, there have been measures to make it better. I got interviewed by Bob Powell of TheStreet.com's Retirement Daily. There are important details here because the language is so different that you must learn in order to understand what happens under Medicare and how it affects your cost. It's important to see all of the little segments, so whether that be on your playlist or other videos here on the channel, it's impossible to cover all of them in a single video. I've got a 200-page book on the thing. Thanks to Bob and TheStreet.com's Retirement Daily. Hope you get some good information from it.
The appeals for observation status is now allowed, and here to talk with me about it is J.O., author of Maximize Your Medicare. Jay, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Pleasure. So what is the appeals for observation status, and now that it's allowed, what do we need to know about it?
So for the newcomers to Medicare, let's first explain observation status. When you go into a hospital, you can be admitted as an inpatient, and that is covered by Medicare Part A. However, you can go into a hospital and be put on something called observation status, in which case the services you receive are actually billed under Medicare Part B. Now, this causes a great deal of confusion to a consumer, to a patient. You don't really know what your status has been. Years ago, this has been a huge problem because people would believe that they were under Part A, but actually covered by Part B, with totally different cost-sharing results. Now, you are able to actually appeal whether or not you've been put on observation status, as you mentioned, or whether you've been admitted into a hospital, in which case you are covered under Part A. This is a new development, a welcome one to some.
Right. And I imagine when folks go into a hospital, they're probably completely unaware that they may be admitted under Part A versus Part B or not.
You're absolutely right, Bob. There have been measures to try to correct this, meaning, for example, there's something called the Notice Act, where the hospital is required to inform the patient what their status actually is. That has also been accompanied by something called the 2 midnight rule, where if you stay across 2 midnights, then you're presumed to be inpatient. Nevertheless, the fact is that you could still be coded as in observation status, in which case now the appeals being allowed is, again, a welcome development.
Right. And is there any way to know in advance how you'll be classified when you go into a hospital? Can you ask in advance, for instance?
I don't think so, Bob. I've not faced that situation, and anecdotally, I can just say that that's well down the list of someone's concerns as they enter the hospital. So it's totally reasonable to not know and not to know not how to ask to be treated.
So I guess everything in arrears on this, then you get a bill from the hospital, and then once you get that bill and you realize how surprised you are, you can begin the appeals process.
Perhaps. Now, let me just mention that for persons who are under Medigap, that the most that it could hurt you, meaning the most your exposure could be, would be the Part B deductible. From that point, most Medigap plans would cover the balance. If you're under Part A, then Medigap covers the entirety of the Part A deductible.
All right, Jay, as always, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Bob.